What we're going to do in this video is think about how to find the volume of a cube. But before we do that, I want to think about, or maybe review, how we find the area of a square. So let me draw a square here. And I'm kind of hand drawing it, so it's not going to be perfect, but that one's looking very square-like. And we know that what makes it a square is that the sides are all the same length, and we also know that these are all right angles, and they're all the same length, and that's what makes it a square. Now let's say that this square, one of the sides, has length of 3 units. Well, that means that all of the sides have length of 3 units. And this is a bit of review, but what would be the area of this square? Well, we could think about it this way. It's 3 units in this direction. 1, 2, 3. That looks about right. Let me make it roughly equal. So that looks about right. And it's also 3 units in this direction. Let me make it look a little bit closer. And so what we could do is we could create a grid. So if we are 3 units in this direction, so let me split this into 3, and then 3 in this direction, we split here, 3. We can see that there's a bunch of ways you could think about it. You could have 1, 2, 3 rows, and each of those rows have 3 units in them, 3 square units. So the area here is going to be 3 rows of 3 is equal to 9, and our units would be square units. 9 units squared. Or another way to think about it, you could say area is equal to 3 to the second power units squared. Or another way to think about it is when you see something with an exponent of 2, people often say 3 squared. Why do they say that? Well, that's because that's how you find the area of a square. So let's keep that in the back of our mind to think about the volume of a cube. And so let me make a cube that each of its sides are 3 units. And to do that, I am just going to copy and paste this character that we have right here. Let me just do this. And I'll build from there. So I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste it. Let me put it right over there. And now let me make a cube out of it. And so what do I mean by that? Well, we know it's 3 wide, 3 high, but let me also make it 3 deep. So 3 deep. Just like, I'm trying to make it look like a real cube. I can do a better job than that. Okay, that looks pretty good. 3 deep, and then let me make this right over here. And then, okay, that looks pretty close to a cube. So what is going to be the volume of this cube? And one way to think about it, area was how many of these unit squares could we fit inside of it? And we saw we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When we're thinking about volume, we're thinking about how many of these unit cubes can we fit in here. And this is one of the unit cubes right over here that I am showing a little bit. That's one of them. And so you could try to visualize and think about how to count it, or we can do a very similar idea to what we did before. Because this is a cube, all the dimensions are 3. So there's 3 wide, 3 high. We already saw that. But it's also 3 deep. So let me make this. So 3 deep. So let me divide it like that. And then we have this over here. I haven't drawn it as nicely as one could, but you get the idea. Give me some grace that this is a hand-drawn. This is a hand-drawn example right over here. Maybe has a little bit of depth, a little bit of perspective. You can see that. That didn't help. That just made it a little bit messier. But what you can see here is we essentially have on this, let me divide it. So we have 3 layers deep. We have this first layer of cubes that I'm going to highlight in red. So we have these in red. How many of those are there? So in this layer. Well, you could see we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or you could say there's 3 times 3 there. And it doesn't go deeper than 1 layer. So on this one right over here, we only have 9. But then how many of these layers do we have? We have that one. Then we have another one right over here in orange. That's the second layer. And then the third layer, we have, I'll make that in blue right over here. I'll color that third layer in blue so you can see it so it doesn't get too squunched up. And I'll color that middle layer in orange so that you can see it. So you can see there's 3 layers. So I'm going to multiply that by another 3. And so how many do you get? You get 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27 of these unit cubes or cubic units. Unit cubed. And actually you could, well, you could write it like that. Or actually, let me just get rid of, I think you should actually say square units or cubic units, just like that. If this was a meter, you would say meters cubed or cubic meter. And what you can see here is, what's the same thing as 3 times 3 times 3? That's the same thing as 3 to the third power. And you can see that that's why people call this 3 cubed, because that's how you find the volume of a cube. So if you give me the length of any side of a cube, we know that all of them are the same. So we'll know that the volume is going to be equal to, if it's the length times the length times the length, which is equal to the length cubed. If someone gives you the height, well, that's going to be the same thing as the length. It's going to be the height times the height times the height cubed. Whatever side they give you, times the height, which is equal to height cubed. So whatever side they give you, you just multiply it 3 times, or you can take 3 of them and multiply them together is one way to say it, or you can just cube it.